yeah, I'm ready to be led. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and when I say the room, I mean the PF as a party. So how do you respond to critics who suggest that internal divisions within the PF may weaken its chance in 2026? And how sure are you that the PF will be on the ballot in 2026 with its internal wrangles?
You see, Pizzi, what I want to say here is that every political party has its own challenges. And I think that I must admit, in the recent past, as a party, or indeed as an alliance, we haven't handled our disputes very well, in that most of these disagreements have been out there in the media, which makes the PF or the alliance look like they have so many differences and disputes. But every other political party, including the UPNG, you see that there are a lot of problems they have today to do with old members of parliament versus the new ones. But I think that they've handled their disputes better. What we need today, the Zambian people are not going to sit back and listen to our squabbles. The Zambian people today are looking for solutions. They want to hear from us what we are doing about voter registration, what we are doing about farmers who have not been paid, what we are doing about the lack of medicines in hospitals. And that's why I'm here on radio this morning. We are not going to be there to feed the Zambian people on the squabbles that we have internally. These are being resolved. I don't think the challenges we have are insurmountable. I want to tell you that the challenges are being resolved in the background, but we have to step up and provide solutions for the Zambian people to the many challenges that they face today.
Okay. We're in a very what I'll say, a very special moment for every Zambian right now. You're here during the week where the nation will celebrate its Independence Week, as Zambia celebrates 61 years of independence tomorrow on Friday, October 24th. What are your reflections on this occasion?
Well, I may not have been there during independence, but of course, you look back what Zambia was like before independence. What our forefathers went through and how they fought their way to freedom. And 60 years later, you realize that we may not be truly independent, as it were. Yes, politically we may be independent, but you find that economically we're not yet independent, because the country is still being controlled by foreign powers, still being controlled by foreign investors. Even the potential that I spoke about, we have a mindset, that only foreign investors would come and develop this country. It's only foreign investors that would run these mines. It's only foreign investors that would run these hotels. Yes, so as we talk about independence, we should enlarge the discussion of independence. My submission, therefore, would be that, yes, in 1964 we got our independence. We got our freedoms, but economically we're not independent. If you look at where we are today, some of the freedoms that we got after independence, we don't even have them today. Look at how many Zambians are failing to talk today. Zambians that are going to call into this program and not identify themselves. They can't speak, they can't even identify themselves. They would rather say they are AI or something else. So, in as much as we'd like to celebrate this independence, a deep reflection will tell us that we are not really independent. I talked about economic independence, but I also want to talk about political independence. We don't have the freedoms to speak. We don't have the freedoms to congregate. We don't have freedoms, to express ourselves today. Pizzi, you know that we had our last elections in 2021. Are you aware that opposition political parties have not been able to hold their meetings the past 4 years? I think we have over 20, 25 political parties There's only maybe one or two political parties that have been allowed to hold their meetings, maybe two or three. So how would one expect us to really celebrate our independence? Are we really independent? The only difference would be, before 1964, we were colonized by foreign powers. But today, the country is being run by Zambians. And yet the Zambians themselves, other citizens, cannot speak. You talk about independence in a country where there's selective application of the law. You have to belong to a certain political party. As long as you do, then certain laws don't apply to you. You can say the same thing as the next person who belongs to another political party. The other person will be in jail tomorrow, they'll be convicted. You will have your freedoms. So this particular independence reminds us of how divided this country has become. You have very good examples. You have examples of a CEO at Ratsa making tribal remarks. The Zambians did not expect that CEO to be fired. They expected him to be jailed because the likes of Kambwili are still serving the jail sentence for having uttered similar sentiments. Nothing has happened. You have many youths from political groupings insulting leaders, making tribal remarks. Nothing has happened to them. Leaders of political parties calling the clergy Lucifer. Nothing has happened to them. Yet their colleagues from other political parties are serving jail sentences. Yeah, so you know, what independence are we celebrating really?
How would you change the status quo with what you've just highlighted to do issues to do with, you know, good governance, freedom of speech, if elected as president?
Well, what must be made clear is that we're a constitutional democracy. And in a constitutional democracy, you know, the Constitution is supreme. As a legal scholar myself, my fidelity is to the law. So with my fidelity to the law, I will ensure that it's a rule of law and not rule of men. What we have today is the rule of men and not the rule of law. Because if we had the rule of law, the law is blind. The law would be applied equitably. You know, so as opposed to what is happening today, my fidelity will be to the law. And as long as my fidelity is to the law will be applied equitably.
I want to find out from you as far as, you know, your values, because it's one thing to be in leadership, but as a man, people would like to know what kind of values you uphold. So just speak to us about your personal values. What do you hold dear, and why should Zambians trust you? In short, who is Brian Mundubile really, based off the points you just raised?
Coming from a Christian background, raised in a Christian family, been a Christian for all my life. You'll be interested to know that I was actually baptized at North Mid Assemblies of God in 1992 by Pastor Ernest Chelelwa. So I have grown up in this Christian faith, Christian family. So because of that, my Christian values inform, you know, the way that I lead my life. It informs my morals, as it were. You know, my love for the people, my integrity, my sincerity, the spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation. So this is something that everyone that has known me for years will attest to. So I always allow love to lead. Yeah, with love comes reconciliation. You know, with love comes sincerity. You know, so if, as a leader, with the love that I have for the Zambian people, I'm given to govern, the first thing I'll do is to tell the Zambian people the truth. With love, I'll feel their pain when they're suffering. such that the policies that we craft are those that are going to look out for the aspirations and interests of the poorest of the poor. So it becomes easy because my background has been fairly humble. I understand the pain, that people go through, especially the vulnerable. So I believe that as a leader, these are some of the values that will be central, to my governance.
Do you serve in the church, seeing that you're a very proud Christian?
Well, of course, with schedules of a politician is very difficult. But when I was young, much younger, I was actually in the choir. Yeah, I was actually in the choir. Yeah, so at North Mid, yes, I remember that I would do evangelism. What we had was when visitors come to church, there was a little bag where they would post their address. At that time, we didn't really have phones, I think. Yeah, they would post their address and so on. So those that were in evangelism would pick up those addresses and be able to walk to these places and encourage other Christians. I did a lot of that. I used to walk to Rhodes Park, Thorn Park, all the way to Long Acres. And I'll do that religiously every Sunday.
So that means mobilization is not a problem for you?
No, it's not a problem. I think it started from there. I didn't know it was going to end up this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the political environment at best can be described as toxic and frightening right now, Honorable Mundubile. A number of your opposition colleagues have ended up in jail, and yet you have stepped up and offered yourself for leadership. Aren't you scared?
Not at all. PZ, this is about the Zambian people. It's about the Zambian people. As leaders, we have to remove fear. We should have no fear. If, as leaders, we embrace fear and begin to, walk in reverse, who is going to serve those Zambian people? I know and I feel the pain of many families today. I have in mind Nixon Chilangwa. I have in mind Ronald Kauma Chitotela. I have in mind Kalumba Chifumbe. I have in mind Chishimba Kambwili, Joseph Malanji, Bowman Lusambo, Munia Zulu, Maureen Mabonga, and many others. These are people who are serving jail sentences today, not because they did something wrong. They are serving their jail sentences today because they held a different political view, because they did not agree with President Hakainde Hichilema. They did not agree with the UPND. So they found a clever way, of putting them away, of stopping them, of packing them away. So the fact that this country needs redemption, that redemption will come through leaders like ourselves. The Zambian people chose me as a member of parliament. I've been serving for the past 9 years. I've been a leader at parliamentary level, at ministerial level. So they expect more from us. For Nixon Chilangwa, Chitotela, Malanji, Kambwili, and now Nakachinda, their hope is in us, those of us that still have voices to speak. So I'm not scared at all. I'm going to step up, speak for those that can't talk, speak for the vulnerable, speak for the weak, and indeed provide hope for the people of this country.
I want us to spend some time getting a glimpse of what a Mundubile presidency will look like, all right? So tell us your priority areas and how you hope to actualize these ideas.
Well, my priority areas would be poverty reduction. You know today that poverty levels average around 60%. That's the national average. But when you go to the details, you'll find that in the rural parts of the country, it's as high as 80%. So this is urgent. Mm-hmm. Poverty reduction is urgent. So to be able to reduce poverty, research has shown that we should be able to provide sustainable employment. That's the number one cure, for poverty. Now, to provide sustainable employment, you need to industrialize. And to be able to industrialize, we have to invest. So it's investment for industrialization, then we create employment, and this is the biggest tool to fight poverty. So that's my number one priority. Now, when you talk about industrialization, you have many areas, for instance, in tourism. The potential, we have so much potential in tourism. You, for instance, go up north and you've got the Northern Circuit. I hope you've been to the Kasaba Bay. You know, if you went there, you would wonder why, as a country, we're still poor. The potential that lies in that part of the country is so much that that area alone can change the tourism complexion of this particular country. So industries can be set up around just the Northern Circuit in tourism alone. Remember, we are saying it's investment to industrialize, industrialize to create employment. If you go into agriculture.
Before we go to agriculture, I'd just like to know how you plan on attracting that investment that will spur that industrialization that you speak of.
Well, first of all, I think it's all about planning. The natural resource that resides at Kasaba Bay, for instance, in terms of tourism, the animals are already there, the lakes are there, and all the natural features are already there. So as government, what is required at Kasaba Bay is just to complete the runway. Once the runway is complete, it shortens the distance, it shortens the time that tourists are able to get into Kasaba Bay. And investors are there to put up the rest of the infrastructure, like hotels and many other facilities. Remember that I was Minister of Northern Province before. So these are some of the areas we looked at during our investment expo. And indeed today, information is still at provincial administration to show that we had a number of investors that came up. And some of them were actually Zambians. We had the Zambian investor who actually came up and was very serious about that particular investment. He brought in South African contractors, to commence works. We soon went out of power. I would not know what progress is. But the major investment there is on the runway. Once the runway is sorted out, the rest of the things will resolve themselves. There were even proposals for health tourism. There were big hospitals. I think I've just forgotten the name of that hospital. They wanted to come and put up a facility there. You know, these are hospitals where, the rich would want to put their mother in their last days, and they also have an opportunity to come and be with their parents, because the area is attractive. So the potential there is immense. The potential at Kasaba Bay is immense.
Okay. Let's get to your policy on agriculture.
Yes, we have not less than 10 farming blocks earmarked. There's at least one with an average 100,000 hectares per province, right across the country. If you look at research, you realize that agriculture is actually the biggest employer. Okay, the agriculture sector would employ up to 70% of the employable population in our country. So the concept around farming blocks, these were actually agricultural parks. The idea was to be able to create industries for value addition within the farming blocks. If we are growing wheat, there should be trucks of flour leaving that particular farming block, meaning that the farmers are doing their bit, and there are also factories there that are milling flour, milling meal, and many other finished products. So it was the entire value chain. That was the design. The design was just not mere agriculture. The design of those farming blocks were that they'll be turned into agricultural parks where industries will run alongside these farms, which will be run by anchor farmers promoting what you call outgrower schemes. Yeah, so if you look at these two alone before you even go into mining, you realize that a greater portion of our population will actually be absorbed because they'll get jobs from the support industry to the tourism sector, because in the tourism sector you'll have hotels, you'll have transporters and all these other support industries. They will absorb people in those particular areas. They will employ people. The agriculture sector will employ people. we would have already started tackling poverty.
Okay, let's get to the next bit. What's your plan on the mining?
Yes, the plan on the mining is, we with a lot of survey, we've discovered that many parts of this country actually have a lot of mineral deposits. You are now hearing of deposits in Pika, deposits in Mumbwa, deposits of gold and many other minerals all over the country. So we have greenfield mines and we have existing mines. What is important, what my argument has always been, is that to be able to derive maximum benefit, Zambia as a country must also run mines. Zambia as a government must also run mines. So, especially with looking at the investment that has gone into survey, you've heard of $100 million going in and all that. What is supposed to happen is that government should also be able to run some mines. Government should look for partners, to be able to run these mines with. And secondly, we also look at the value chain. What's the level of participation of Zambians in the mining industry? I have in mind contracts within the mines, supplies within the mines, and all that. So besides the actual mining, we want to look at the entire value chain and see to what extent Zambians are benefiting. Those Zambians that may not be involved in mining directly, we can build Zambians. We can build millionaires who are Zambians out of mine supply and mine contracts. These same suppliers would later get interest in running these same mines. So there's a lot of value around the mining sector that I think we're not tapping in. Firstly, we as a country have been giving concessions to these mining houses from the word go. You know that today mineral royalty tax, which was at 6%, is now at 3%, and mineral royalty tax is actually deductible. So if you look at the foregone revenue by government through these measures, it's so much money. There's no compensating event at all, to put back money in the treasury. So with the mining sector, we have to look at a win-win situation. The mining houses make their money, they make their profits, but government must also maximize the return.
We've had different governments that come in, and every time we talk about mining and the taxes, we're always almost given the same reason. We have to attract investments, we have to make it more favorable for the investor. So what new thing are you going to propose on the table if elected into office regarding this issue to do with mining and taxes and all this? Because it's one thing for you as a politician to come to the Zambian people and say, I'll do it differently. How is it going to be done differently so that the Zambian people get the fair share of taxes?
You see, if you look at, say, the past 20 years, I'm not an expert in mining, but I've been observing. There was a time the prices of copper and other minerals were very low.
Yes.
And there had been some discussions, with the mining houses regarding, what tax the government can get out of this. So I'll give you an example. There was a time that the mines would actually break even around about $2,500 or $3,000 because the copper prices were around $4,500. And the mines were running, meaning the mines were breaking even posting a profit at $4,500. So when the prices started going over $7,000, $8,000, the government then felt that there was need to introduce other measures to maximize benefit on the part of government. That's when you heard of things like windfall tax, for instance. You started hearing of mineral royalty taxes, as it were. So where we are today, I don't agree with the Minister of Finance when he wants to lay a red carpet for the investors in order to attract them. You know very well that in Eastern Congo, there's war. There are guns every day there, right? People are mining, all right? Why? Because the prices of these minerals are so high now. Well over $10,000. Do you still need to lay the carpet for these investors to come when the prices are $10,000? Certainly not. So you also have to look at the time. When the prices were 3,000, 4,000, definitely at that time you needed to lay a carpet for these investors to come, because it was very tricky. I mean, they would easily run into losses. Not when the prices are $10,000.
What's a win-win situation? What does a win-win situation look like for you, as far as the mining sector is concerned, and the general public?
Well, first of all, we start with equity. You know, I don't agree with the 20% shares that government holds through the SCCMIH. Let's look at what's happening in the region. You know, you go to countries like Botswana. They know that these are wasting assets, and at the same time, this is the only resource that we can use to build our country. The equity, the shares, the government interest there is 50% and above, and that is the starting point. So at that point, then it doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter, because we'll be able to benefit from not only the taxes, but also the profit. So first of all, we have to increase government shareholding in these mines.
What's the target percentage in this that you have in mind right now when you say it's one thing to say we increase the percentage in these mines, but what's your actual target as to how much should we own as the Zambian people through the Zambian government?
41 to government, 51 to the investor. That's still good. It's still good. It's better than 20. It's better than 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Earlier on, you talked about the boom in a lot of discovery of different minerals, mostly gold deposits around the country. I want to find out from you, what's the plan regarding the locals? Because there's been a cry that I might be coming from Rufunsa, just here outskirts of Lusaka, and there's a lot of gold deposits. But if you go to Rufunsa, it does not represent what the gold deposits that it has. And many other mining areas and provinces, there's this outcry from the locals to say, we're mining, and there's a lot of mining going on, there's a lot of minerals being shipped out every day, but if you look at our province, or if you look at our area, it looks like a very, very poor area. What's your plan for them to feel the actual investments that are coming directly into their provinces and their areas? Those people that are living around those places.
Yes, pezi nga mwalolesha mwakumpika mwasanga kuli gold ifwile fyachitika palya kufuile okubako benefit kuli community nga kuli benefit kuli community community naikwata trust elo ya nomba yaya mu partnership na investor, be it a Zambian investor or a foreign investor, so that ilebale fumia gold nangu mino ili yonse benefit kula kule fuma pantu kula kule fuma gold kule shalfe filindi, okay, kufilo kuba benefit ile ya kuli ilia what do I call it, a trust, okay, that way ilia nche ndio kule fuma gold pantu lesabi kilio mukubaulia uko afuilisha abantu bakulya kwine nga chako bati bamwine mushi na bashamfumu bale kwata mo benefit mu filefu makulya bakala pange misebo bakala panga ma boreholes bakala panga ma hospitals ndiye bale fumyamo ndiye bale lusa gold pant gold baimba yaya kukala shala kofimo fo bakala mwena ko kuti ilya we utwa kwete chile chuma twa kwete mushiri elo basendele we got a return. This is very, very important. The areas where these minerals are coming from, there has to be a structured approach to ensure that there's some benefit even to the people that are living in those areas. Because the people that normally go to these areas are people that don't even maybe come from there. They'll simply mine, leave those big gullies, leave those open pits, and go. So I want to look at how the people in the UAE managed their oil. It's similar. It's when they discovered oil. It's not very long ago, maybe it's 50 years ago. When they discovered their oil, they realized that it was a wasting asset. Oil so mukupoma kwa oil chuma nchituka shala nacho. They decided, the 7 sheikhs in those 7 emirates decided to come together. They ran them independently, but they had common ideas around that. And they resolved that they had to get maximum benefit and be able to put up infrastructure, for tourism and the other areas that would benefit the future generations. And for sure, Dubai, I think, has no more oil. And there's oil in Abu Dhabi, not in Dubai. Okay, they exhausted the oil, but it's the world's best tourism destination. Meaning, the benefit that they got from the oil, is benefiting later generations. Now, if we ila gold ikapwa, but what happens to the people of Mkwikile? What happens to the people of Kasemba kula kule fuma gold? Okay, so once kunchende kula kule fuma gold, government must move in a structured fashion. First of all, to make sure that these villages are put in groups, whether they're cooperatives, whether it's a trust, that even if their benefit is only 20%, definitely those areas will change much more than they would under CDF.
In case you're just joining us on the hot seat this morning, we have 2026 presidential aspirant Honorable Brian Mundubile joining us on the hot seat this morning. You're a lawyer in good standing at the bar with some experience of constitutional law. Zambia today is at a crossroads. The executive seems determined to push through a constitutional amendment process that has been broadly rejected. What's your position on this matter? And please just break it down to a layman's terms for a listener to understand what's going on here.
Yes, we're talking about constitution making. Mm-hmm. Okay, constitution making is about the people. Okay, it's not constitution to the people. It's constitution by the people. That's two different things. So the moment it becomes constitution to the people and not by the people, then you have a problem. Because when you look at a constitution, a constitution piece is a power map. It distributes power and provides for how the exercise of this power can be checked. Constitutions are there to discipline especially dishonest governments. That's very important to note. Now, if a constitution is there to discipline a dishonest government, it should not be a government, okay, to run this constitutional amendment process. Because then to relax the rules, and the rules that will come out of that process will be ineffective to discipline government. So constitutions across the world actually discipline governments. That's why we keep on saying, according to the Constitution. So what happens in constitution making? A stakeholder consultation, a public engagement, dialogue, transparency and accountability rank very highly in what we call new constitutionalism. Previously, constitutions were just handed down. If you look at independence constitutions, our forefathers mainly went to Britain and signed because they were in a hurry to get the independence. And soon after that, they began to amend these constitutions so that they can have a constitution that reflects the aspirations of the Zambian people, as it were. So the starting point, when you want to amend the constitution, you want to change the constitution, the starting point is stakeholder engagement. Tulefa okuchinja constitution, tulefa okuchinja olupapulo. Constitution hii naikwata mwefupunda, tulefa okuchinja. So first of all, in a stakeholders meeting, you must agree that there's need to amend the constitution. Once that is agreed, you agree now on the extent of amendment. Mushe nifinga tola for kuchinja given the circumstances. Once you have agreed on the extent of amendment, you then agree on the design. You agree on the design. This is the roadmap, that this process will follow. Remember, at every juncture, there's consultation, stakeholder consultation. Mm-hmm. Agreed, yes. All right. Now let's come up with a roadmap. So when you've come up with a roadmap, then you're saying, all right, normally a constitutional amendment process, a constitutional reform process, has contestations. How do we build trust? How do we garner consensus? Because you've got to garner consensus. You've got to agree with the majority or the masses. You bring in a legal framework. You actually legislate the process. So where we are coming from, if you look at in Africa within the region, South Africa and Kenya constitutions looked at as very good constitutions, and the constitutional amendment processes embraced immutable principles in constitution making. So basically, when you go through all those processes, you legislate the process, you are building trust, you are being transparent, you are accountable, because every Zambian, even my aunt in Mporokoso, will say, okay, so now tumona nabapanga ifunde ili ala tutungulula ife twala chinja olupapulo natukwata na muchibemba kwina village na muchibemba natumona okuti after 1 month kukaba committee, iyo committee kala shinguluka, after 2 months kukaba okwisa kulusaka okwisa ikala pamo. So there is need for transparency, there is need for accountability, but above all, there must be a legal framework that governs that roadmap. So what is of concern today is we had the process that was started without consultation. All we heard was the president talking about having agreed with women. We all wondered where that meeting took place. He agreed with the youths. We all wondered where that consultation took place. But above all, we knew that it was not his remit, to engage the youths or the women on constitutional reform. What we would have expected was a transparent process where there is a clear stakeholder engagement, and a process that is driven not by government, by civil society and the church. That we didn't see. The process advanced, and as a matter of fact, the constitutional amendment the amendment bill number 7 was delivered on the floor of the House for first reading. It took courageous young men, Celestine Mukandi and Munia Zulu, to go to court to stop that process. That process was stopped by the courts. And what we have seen now is government still trying to come through the back door to push the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 down the throats of the Zambian people. If you look at the terms of reference that are there, it's basically the same Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 that President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND would like to push down the throat of the Zambian people. So it is very, very sad where we are. As a constitutional legal scholar myself, I did not expect us to take 50 steps backwards. Where we are, even after the failed Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10, we would have expected that the UPND were going to do a much better job. A transparent constitutional amendment process, and indeed one that engages many stakeholders right across the country, including the people that can't read English. Chifuile okuba yabana mu translation. Babika muchibemba, muchinyanja, muchitonga, muchilozi, muchikalunda, muchikaonde. It's about the people. It's we, the people of Zambia. So when we are talking about consensus, we're not talking about elitist consensus or bipartisan consensus where, by UPND na PF on parliament baumfuana, so therefore it's agreed. Or abakankala meeting at Pamozi, having tea at Intercontinental in Sarova, na baumfuana ti technical committee then that's it. No. The consensus required in constitution making is a general consensus. Even the people down in our villages should be able to contribute to this particular process. And for them to contribute, we should not take to them documents that are full of technical terms and so on. We must break it down in the language that they understand. Pantu constitution, te yabantu febasanbilira iyo. Iyi constitution ya muntu fyo uli wonse na babi na balanda mazambia. Bafile balanda po. Bafile balanda panafi bakuma.
So, Honorable Mundubile, with all these loopholes that you've highlighted, what are you as lawyers doing anything to stop this process altogether?
I think there are a number of engagements. We've seen the Oasis Forum, we've seen Laz go out to the media, we've seen a number of our colleagues going to court to challenge some of these processes that are being undertaken. It's really unfortunate. It's not even supposed to get to that. Okay, it's just lack of leadership, really, on the part of the UPND. Why should it get to that? What we expect is, if you go back, to just show the lack of sincerity on the part of our colleagues in government. Just play back, and they used to come to Hot FM during the process of amending the constitution with Bill 10. They were coming here. What were they telling you? What were they telling the country? They were talking about having a process that was highly consultative. And the process they were referring to, the process they were condemning, had gone through various stakeholder engagements and was not even driven by government. It was driven by civil society. And they come into government. Government itself, begins a process of amending the constitution. They appoint a committee, to spearhead these processes, and civil society is just in the background. That's very unfortunate. Yeah, so I think that President Hakainde Hichilema can do more. He can do more. He just needs to sit and reflect. The question to ask is that why are they in this indecent haste? Because what you have, clearly there's no time. I can tell you. I'm a constitutional law scholar. There's no time. Yeah. So if you ask me today, what even if they want to tackle it, starting with this technical committee, I think my colleagues have advanced their arguments as regards the legality or illegality of this particular committee. I may not want to go into that. But if consultation started today, which is a must,
they're starting on Monday on the 27th, actually.
Yeah, but look at the time.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
They've given themselves, if you calculate the period of which they want to end their consultations, it's 30 days really. It's a month.
Very, very sad. Very, very sad. Look at the number of days they're allocating per province. Is it per district? Is it per meeting? It's really sad. Especially that where we're coming from, I think the process that was undertaken up to the time that the bill came to Parliament, there is no trust, there's no confidence. They were supposed to be working on a process that will garner trust, that will build trust. And to be able to do that, number one, the process must be legislated. The roadmap must be presented before Parliament in form of a bill so that members of Parliament, representatives of the people, should debate and come up with an act of Parliament to guide the process, to guide the roadmap. That's a first step to building trust with the Zambian people going forward. We are dealing with the government, first of all, that talked about having engaged the women. NGOCC came here and said, look, they were not sure that was done. They told us about having engaged the youths. We know that they did not. So it's very difficult to trust anything that they're going to do going forward. But then if they came and legislated the process, it will be easier for them to be, for people to give them a benefit of doubt, as it were. Because the constitutional amendment process must not only garner consensus, but also trust. But with what they're doing now, it leaves much to be desired.
So how can citizens then, exert sufficient pressure to make the executive abandon this route they have taken on this constitution?
They have to speak out. They have to speak out. We have a duty, first of all, to educate the people what their rights are, and once they become fully aware of how the constitutional amendment process should go, and they look at what is going on now, we encourage those that know to start speaking out. Stand up to government and say what you're doing is wrong. This is not supposed to be a constitution for the UPND. It's the constitution for the people of Zambia. This is their constitution. They're giving it to themselves. The constitution does not say, we, the UPND, give unto Zambians this constitution. It says, we, the people of Zambia, give unto ourselves. So the process that you're looking at now, Zambians cannot say they're giving unto themselves that constitution. So basically, they are trying to bring in, Bill 7 through the back door. They're trying to use some sharp practice through the technical committee to bring in Bill 7. Read through. They're basically talking about the same clauses. They just remove the sections. It's the same ones. So this is the bill that was declared to be unconstitutional, and they want to bring it through the back door. Further suspicion piece is raised in that the Constitution Amendment Bill number 7 is still before Parliament. It has not been withdrawn. So how is the executive, on this other hand, dealing with the same bill that is also sitting at Parliament? Yeah, it is very disturbing, to really look at the extent to which the UPND can go in not wanting to obey the law. Really, it's unprocedural. You can't have the bill before Parliament, and it's also being dealt with by this technical committee. People can't pretend the fact that in the terms of reference, these sections are not numbered. If you go through them, just get Bill 7 and get the terms of reference. It's the same. It's one and the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So they're basically maintaining the bill before Parliament, even when it was declared unconstitutional. But at the same time, they've appointed a committee to really coerce the Zambian people into accepting it. You have what is called an elite theory, in constitutional law, that talks about, it reflects the interests of the political elites of that time. But you also, within that theory, you have what is called the elite cohesion theory. Okay? Yeah, so basically what these terms of reference reflect, it actually reflects the fears and aspirations, including the interests of the UPND only.
In case you're just joining us, this morning on the hot seat, we have 2026 presidential aspirant, Honorable Brian Mundubile, joining us on the show. We'll be opening up the phone lines in a few minutes for you to be part of this conversation. Remember that you have to restrict yourself to asking one question, and B, just get straight to the point as we open the phone lines. So gather your thoughts now as we prepare to open the phone lines. One question, and we'll allow Honorable Mundubile to answer as many questions as possible as he can whilst he's on the show. It's something that's very important that we need to talk about also. How do you plan on uniting the nation as president? Because the general view is that the country is heavily polarized, making us wonder whether we are still one Zambia, one nation.
Well, if you look at some of the decisions that government has made, I'll start with Article 259. I remember, I think 3 years, about 2022, we raised the question. Members of Parliament were concerned with the manner of appointments into civil service. It was very clear that the president and all those that were given the responsibility to make appointments were not in compliance with Article 259, that enjoins them to consider regional diversity, among others. Now, if you look at us as Zambians generally, even for us as members of Parliament, we actually won. Okay, we only have a few individuals in leadership now that are trying to divide the country. So to start with, as a people, as individuals, as people, as friends, I know, Pizzi, that even for you, if I called you, to come to my house for a drink and ask you to come with 15 friends, you come with friends from across, with regional diversity, coming from all parts of the country, or Imunandi, or Munzanga, and so on and so forth. That's who we are, okay? But what we have today, we have leaders, that believe they can divide this country, that they can polarize this country, as it were. So, to start with, we have laws that would help us unite us. If you go, the first complaint has been on the employment in the civil service. Okay, these appointments that are made are supposed to show regional diversity. Okay, that's by law. Once you follow what the Constitution says, you will be able to balance people in these positions from across the country. But secondly, we also have to work very closely with the church. I think what our friends in government have done, they've distanced themselves from the church. They've been in this combatant mode or attack mode to attack the clergy. They've not been able to sit down together with the church to resolve some of the challenges that we face today. Yeah, so it's not an easy thing to do, but like I said, within ourselves, if you come to my office, you will see my partner. My partner comes from Western Province. One of our directors is from Southern Province. So just at office level, a small office with 20 people working, you find that it's representative. So out there, we may not be as divided, as our leaders would want us to be.
Where's this push for this kind of politics that we're seeing? Because you as politicians are being pointed out as the ones pushing this narrative.
No. Maybe the question to ask is why now? Okay, I think this is the only time where, as Zambians, we have become so conscious of our ethnicity. The question is why now?
Is it all Zambians or just the politicians?
No. From what we're picking, I think it's also going down to even other offices, including the civil service. Yeah. So I think something has to be done, and we have to correct it from the top. We have to correct it from the top. Once it's corrected from the top, it will cascade downwards, and everybody will be free again.
Honorable Mundubile, before I open the phone lines also, let's talk about a call that has been made first. It was made from the people, and now we somewhat heard the opposition political parties hear it and try it. Let's get your views on opposition unity. Already there exists a number of groupings hoping to foster a united opposition for the 2026 general elections. What's your personal view on the need for the opposition to unite?
Yeah, I actually support that. I support that, and it also answers your question, part of the question on how we're going to unite as a country. Normally, these political parties, every political party has its stronghold, okay? It has its base somewhere. And because you will have different strongholds from right across the country, the moment you begin to unite, meaning you're bringing the groupings from different parts of the country coming together to work as one. I'll give you an example. I think MMD was strong in the Eastern Province. PF is strong in the northern part. UPND is strong in the southern part. National Party was strong in the northwestern part. So political parties have their strongholds, okay, because of maybe where their leaders are coming from. So when political parties begin to come together, it's also one way, of uniting the country, because you'll have different political parties with different strengths in terms of geographical areas. Once they come together, they bring people from different areas within the country to come and work as one.
How do you plan on uniting the opposition here? You are from the largest opposition political party in the country right now, aspiring to be leader of the largest opposition political party right now. And if you look at the alliances that have been formed, the back and forths that are happening, the wrangles that have engulfed these alliances, how do you plan on fixing it all if you are given the mandate to lead the PF in 2026?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that opposition political parties have been talking. They have been talking for some time now. Even the time that President Edgar Chagulung was around, opposition political parties were meeting and discussing on how they can put their efforts together, work together, and maybe unite around one candidate. So we enjoy cordial relationships as political parties in the background. The differences are normal, like I said earlier. Sometimes we just mishandle our differences, where the neighbor should not have been aware that you've actually differed, because you took your differences to social media, everybody becomes aware. That doesn't mean those other political parties are exactly peaceful. They've only managed their disputes well. So I want to assure you that within the alliance and PF as a party, these disputes are being handled in the background. But at the same time, we can't sit and wait until we resolve those challenges, because today we should be talking about voter registration. It's for a limited period. So I can't come here busy and say, look, let me go and first of all sit down with my big brother Sakiwa Skota. We agree on something, then I'll come and talk about voter registration. What the country needs are solutions. We are stepping up to provide solutions for the many challenges the people face, even as we resolve our challenges within our political groupings. So I have confidence that we'll be able to unite opposition political parties. It's not possible to achieve that 100%. So far, we've already identified those political parties or leaders that have a common mindset on certain things, that are also agreed on having a united opposition. What we're working on are just the mechanics on how we're going to come together, as it were. So I think it's something that will be done. I'm very confident that we're going to have a united opposition very soon. But like I said, it will not be all the opposing political parties. Others, for their own reasons, may decide to stay away. But I think the majority will come together and unite around one candidate who's going to take us in the 2026 election.
You took a tour of the Eastern Province. I had the privilege of listening in to your conversation with my paramount chief, Chief Mpezeli, who highlighted something that many Zambians are highlighting. You don't have time as the opposition. Also, Zambia is a very, very big country. We're a few months before the elections. Do you think you will have enough time to galvanize national-wide support and put up a strong challenge to the incumbent head of state?
Yes, Pizzi. The beauty about it is that because of poor governance, maladministration, the Zambians have made up their minds that the UPND has to go. Unless you live in a different part of town, Pizzi, I'm sure you must have come across this conversation. The Zambian people have already decided. So they're calling upon us as the opposition to say, can you please unite? That's the reason why they're calling for opposition unity. They're saying, don't confuse us. Okay, we know who's leaving. Okay, so can you quickly come together, find a candidate, a credible candidate that should be able to take over that top seat. So the reason why they want us to unite is that the fact that they're removing the UPND in 2026, they also don't want to close their eyes and be oblivious to maybe weaknesses of leaders and that. They would want to also have an opportunity to analyze the leaders who are going to take over office, to ensure that these are not leaders who are going to promise to reduce the dollar, within 3 hours of getting into power, and 4 years later the dollar is not reduced. Zambians are very alert. They are looking out. They want to see the early signs as to whether whoever will take over from President Hakainde Hichilema, they want to make sure he should not be one, that promises to reduce millimil from 130 to 50 kwacha, but in actual fact increases it to 400. One who comes with some mathematical formula on the board to show that he can remove certain costs so that fuel comes down to 10 kwacha and 12 kwacha, and then fuel goes to 30 kwacha. They want to ensure that he would not be one who say, I'm a farmer, I understand the interests of farmers, be able to look after your interests. And when he comes into power, he begins to give them fertilizers in Medas. When they supply maize to FRA, he doesn't pay them. So they're very suspicious. They really want to make sure, this individual, is not one who promises to give them 8 bags and just gives them 1 bag, as it were. So, to answer your question, yes, the time is tight. It's very tight. We really have to get together sooner than later. But I think we still have enough time, to sell that one candidate that the opposition will rally behind around the country to take over from President Hakainde Hichilema.
On the hot seat this morning, we have 2026 presidential aspirant Honorable Brian Mundubile joining us this morning. It's now time for you to be part of this conversation. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877, 0967-877-447. I've also taken note of those of you asking questions on Facebook. We'll be able to put them forward to Honorable Mundubile right here on this show so that he responds to the questions that you are asking online. Call us now. It's 0974-870-877. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Morning to you. What's your name? What's your name? Mr. Mkosa, please go ahead with your question and restrict yourself to asking one question, please.
Mkosa, long time. Very good.
Why are you afraid of use that women to be part of the government? and the people with disability. Because you cannot be saying this person is bad when you have not told the London people what is bad about it. You people, you complained about the consultation, that it was not widely consulted. Even the Constitution Court guided us to say we need to consult more. Here is the consultation process that started. You are still trying far. What do you want to do? Is it just not my politics? I mean, even when you have nothing to offer, like we have shown today that you have got no anything different to what this government is doing. The only thing that you have is that you enjoy your democratic right to participate or to belong to a political part of the choice. Huh? You are talking about the mining sector. Saying when you come, you are going to make sure that the government will have more than 3% share. The government, when they sold money, when they found that the which party they have passed, how many percent does the government have in that mine? 49. For the first time after privatization, the government has a stake of 49%. So, my brother, you are just trying to push a door which is already open. There is nothing that you are offering.
Mr. Mkosa,
is the right to participate.
Mr. Mkosa, I've given you enough time to get your point across. Thank you very much. Thanks for your question. It's 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Those lines get you through to the hot seat. We'd like to hear from you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much.
Morning to you. What's your name?
My name is Dwayne. Good morning, Honorable Mundubile.
My dear brother, Mtoto Kafaya, how are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. Just listening to your views being projected, I thought I should ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Technical committee has been established. Is the secretariat for the committee already established? Have the assets or equipment that is going to be used already procured? What procurement method did the government use? What budget line was deployed? As you may know, 2025, there's no budget line for this. The current budget under discussion, there is no budget line for this. So where is the budget coming from? But 2 to 3 days in Northern Province where you are an MP, Brian, where I'm also an MP, who is going to submit? Is it the chiefs, civic leaders? Is it headmen? Is it villagers? Is it churches? Or is it civil society organizations? And if you choose any of these groups, where are they going to come from? Is it from Kaputa, from Lunde, from Usama, from Sengambala, Pulungu? Or are they coming from Ruwingu, Pososhi, or Chiruvi? How is it that all these players are going to submit in 3 days without government sensitization? Sir, this is the country. Tell us your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. We'll allow in one more call, then we'll allow our guests to respond to those questions. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Morning to you. What's your name?
My name is Andrew.
Andrew, please go ahead with your question.
Mr. President, good morning.
Good morning to you, Andrew.
Yeah, we're following. I think you are fair. I like your fairness. I like your agenda on industrialization. I want to agree with you 100%. We need to industrialize this economy so that we create real employment. Not if you're mad, we will employ 30,000 teachers and all that. Thank you much, Mr. President. So industrialization is going to give us real employment. Okay? So you're not agenda. So when you industrialize, you attract investment, both local and foreign. Okay? Then you create employment. When you create employment, you increase the tax base. When you increase the tax base, the economy is going to have a lot of resources. when you have a lot of resources, you find that there will be exposure in terms of income. And then Marasanga Palasti, Marasanga na explain ya Fulama pocket, Nama, then you lower taxes. So all the best, Mr. Mundubile, we're wishing you well. I know you people are going to go to a convention very soon. And our ask is that whoever is going to emerge as the winner, please rally behind that person. My concern is on the ECZ, Ministry Registration. So in my area, for example, there is a center which they are designated. This is now week 2. They are never reported. They are only I was looking at the calendar. I think they executive it's around 29. I think for 3 days or so. I was hoping that this date would have allowed these centers to operate their whole periods during this registration period. They should have allowed the centers to operate fully so that we capture as many people as possible. Because, Mr. President, imagine by area Mysala, you just open for 2 days, 3 days, then Mysala. It's not helping us. So maybe you could take the powers that if they can just run throughout so that people will capture as many people as possible. I thank you, Mr. President.
Andrew, thank
you.
you. Thank you for your contribution. Please respond to the 3 that we have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mukosa talks about youth and women. So my dear brother Mukosa, I must appreciate you because I think you've been very consistent in contributing to most of these programs. So what I want to tell you, Comrade Mukosa, is that the youth and the women are not only going to be involved in governance through Parliament. To start with, when you go to Article 259.2, it actually guides. The question that you must ask, how many youths have been appointed as DCs? How many women have been appointed as permanent secretaries? Go right across in the foreign missions and so on. There are many other positions within government, first of all, where youths and women can participate. The law actually guides that there must be regional diversity, but there must also be due regard to gender. So, firstly, this government has performed very poorly insofar as appointing women and youth is concerned, even when the law guides. There are 116 DCs across the country. How many of those are women? How many of those are youths? Start from there. Go to permanent secretaries. Go to people in foreign missions and so on and so forth. So if you ask me, Comrade Mukosa, what I would have done differently, I want to tell you that the 2019 delimitation report created 92 constituencies. Let's start from there. So the current situation now, under Bill 7, the delimitation report has not been availed to the public. That's supposed to be a public document. We don't know which constituencies are to be delimited. So if you would want Zambians to debate and support a bill blindly, that would be very unfortunate. Remember that in constitution making, there should be transparency and accountability. If this government was transparent, we should have known by now how many constituencies are actually going to be under Bill 7. Now, if you ask me for alternative policy, let's say the objective of President Hakainde Hichilema is to land up to 60 women in Parliament in 2026, and also land 25 youths in Parliament, and maybe a further 10 people living with disabilities. It's very simple. The report, the 2019 report with 92 constituencies, was widely accepted by all members of Parliament because ECZ at that time was very different from the ECZ of today, was very consultative and transparent. So we have 92 constituencies uncontested. Why can't we say out of these 92 constituencies, 60, we allow 60, in these 60 constituencies, only women who compete? The net result, Mukosa, is that we're going to have 60 women in Parliament from that process because we already create a quota system where only women are going to compete. Then we say the next 25, only youths will compete. We'll have 25 youths in Parliament. The next 10, only the disabled. So through this system, there is no incremental cost because remember, there are 100 seats that are being created in Parliament already. Under this new process, they are proposing 100 seats. So we are saying just get 92 and distribute them. So as opposed to what you submitted, Comrade Mukosa, that we are against women and youths coming into parliament, there is a better process of bringing them to parliament rather than a process that President Hakainde Hichilema would like to use, where he himself appoints up to 45 individuals. These are people that will owe allegiance to him. They will represent no constituency. We think that that's not a prudent way of using resources. We can still have the women come to parliament. We can still have the youths come to parliament. And there will be no debate on the constituencies. But you want us to support a process where President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND, would want to take these new constituencies to their strongholds, okay, to give them an easy win in 2026. Definitely not, Comrade Mukosa. That's very different. And very quickly, you talked about the mining sector. For your information, Comrade Mukosa, Mopani still belongs to the Zambian people. The 49 you're talking about is only now up to next year. That mine has not been sold. Because after all, the people that are running that mine never paid a penny. We challenged the Minister of Mines. He came on the floor of Parliament 3 times at the request of the Speaker. They failed to demonstrate that the so-called investors actually paid a cent towards that mine. So to correct you, Mukosa, Mopani is owned by the Zambian people 100%. The 4951 is only now that those caretakers are squatting there. This mine belongs to the Zambian people, and I'm not shy to say that. I want to put it to you that Mopani belongs to the Zambian people 100%. The shares there are 100%. And just to finish on the mining sector, Pizzi, there was one point I forgot to mention when we're talking about facilitation in terms of the mining. The discoveries of gold and many other minerals across the country, even as we look at how the communities can benefit, we think that government should urgently look at decentralizing, these artisanal centers in terms of licensing, so that you have situations where youths from Umpika, youths from Kabompo, and all these other places are going to come into Lusaka to get artisanal licenses. These are small licenses with not very strict conditions. I believe that at local level, at local authority level, they can give authority and position some officials from Ministry of Mines to be able to give these artisanal licenses at that level. This would reduce the cost of travel to Lusaka for many youths who are willing to participate in this particular sector. Honorable Kafwaya, you are talking about the technical committee. Yes, we have reservations over this technical committee. Remember, Honorable Kafwaya, that this technical committee was actually appointed using Article 92. Now, this is these are the executive arm of government. So we have reservations on how this committee was appointed. And remember that the committee was actually sworn in even before the terms of reference were published. So it becomes very difficult because in other jurisdictions where this process has been undertaken, like I said earlier, there is a law that governs the process. So for instance, if we had a Constitutional Review Act, this Constitutional Review Act was going to define the mandate of this committee and many other organs that are associated with this process. And by so doing, most of those other questions that you asked could have been resolved. But our committee was, the terms of reference actually came after the committee. So I'm very sure that even issues of the budget may not have been thought about. What is clear, Honorable Kafwaya, is that the constitution amendment process, nilia abalumendo balanda kutich pante etabeshi bino musango yonefu chilenda every time ngabaye bukishat, oh, we forgot there are no terms of reference. Somebody says, oh, lembena terms of reference. When they sit, they want to have a meeting, they realize that they needed some budget. Oh, it's because you are dealing with the process with a predetermined outcome. They already know what they want to end up with. They want to end up with Bill 7 as it is before Parliament. So all these other processes are just academic. It's something you call the elite cohesion theory. They've come up with a process. They want to come up with an outcome that addresses their fears. And their fears are losing the 2026 elections. their interests will be to grow their numbers in parliament using the back door by allowing the president to appoint up to 45 people in the name of, what do you call that, nomination. So I wouldn't say much, Honorable Kafwaya. There's nothing much to say. We are dealing with a process that is flawed. You know, we're dealing with a committee that is illegal, like you rightly pointed out. You're a member of parliament. You know there was no budget. The president was in parliament not very long ago. There was not even a hint that this was coming. So they are doing everything in reverse. Everything is an afterthought. I want to tell you that when the speaker failed to tender a constitutional amendment bill number 7 to retender it on the floor of the House, was it on the 2nd when we were called to parliament for urgent business? That's the same day that this technical committee was appointed. So clearly the aim of this process is to try and bring back Bill 7 using the back door. So all these things that you're talking about, Honorable Kafwaya, I know that you're very procedural. You'd like things done in a certain way. Unfortunately, our friends in the UPND don't do things like that. So we don't expect to get answers on the equipment, budget lines, and who is going to submit. Yes, busy, like I said. I mean, 3 days in Kasama. Who is going to submit to this particular process? And yet it's supposed to be we, the people of Northern Province. We, the people of Southern Province. We, the people of Northwestern Province. They spent 3 days in Kasama. Okay, who exactly is going to submit that process? Is it my aunt from Kaputa? Okay, is it my uncle coming from Chelenge? These are questions. So when you see a process such as this one, you already know that the outcome is predetermined. So the UPND government wants to end up with Bill 7, the same Bill 7 which was declared unconstitutional before the Constitutional Court is what they want to end up with. But then they want to come to the people and do some window dressing and say we consulted. It's very unfortunate that they've taken this route. Andrew, thank you very much. Yes, you talked about industrialization. On voter registration, I want to take this opportunity to call upon the youths right across the country. I want to call upon the youths to go out and register as voters. For you, the youths, your power is in the vote. You've got power to change something. You know, youths are very innovative. They have a different energy. They need to get involved in governance system. So the starting point, our youths, is for you to go out and register. Please do all you can to step out, because your vote will definitely count. Your vote is your power to change something. So I want to encourage the youths to step out to go and register. But I also know that this process has actually been marred with a number of concerns. We went out to Chipata, we went through a number of districts. We were in Luangwa, we were in Nyimba, we were in Katete. The complaints are all the same. So ECZ should pay specific attention to the equipment that they're deploying to these areas. They should also pay attention to the time that they've allocated to these particular areas. It can't be one size fits all. Most of these areas don't have proper transport system to bring these people to come and register. There must be due consideration how much time you're spending per station, looking at the area where you are. You have areas where people are having to walk over 30 kilometers just to go and register, as it were. So when ECZ only allocates 2, 3, or 4 days, it's certainly not enough. And the last one, I think, is awareness, to continuously raise awareness through community radio stations in those areas so that people know exactly where you are. We know the process had started very badly because the deployment plan came after the program had actually started. So we want to ask ECZ to consider extending this period, because clearly in terms of awareness, ECZ has performed very poorly in this particular process. And secondly, the equipment that is deployed. In the past, that equipment would be tested before it's actually deployed. In this particular case, it was just sent as it was received. And maybe due to bad road infrastructure and many other challenges, most of this equipment is not working. But in cases where, we've had cases where, the team arrives, the equipment has not arrived. In other cases, the equipment has arrived, the team has not arrived. That points to inefficiencies within the ECZ. So ECZ, this is a very important process. I think Zambians are all stepping up to register as voters. They know why they want to vote. it would not be fair that the numbers are suppressed on account of inefficiencies from ECZ going forward. So please, ECZ, step up your efforts to ensure that you capture as many voters as possible. But most importantly, because of the challenges that have been highlighted so far, ECZ should consider elongating the period of registration.
All right, let's pick up more calls. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Hello, good morning. You're through to the hot seat. Hello, good morning. You're through to the hot seat. Hello, good morning. Okay, we seem to, that line is very, very bad. Just try and call us back. We'll be able to accommodate you time. It's 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you doing? What's your name?
Should I remain as known?
You can say your name, please.
Okay. This is Chanda.
Chanda.
Yes.
All right, Chanda, what's your question or contribution?
Okay, the first question that I want to ask you, Honorable Mundubile, is
Restrict yourself to asking one question. So pick from the questions that you have, just pick one that you feel is very important to you.
all right, okay. So, the first question to Honorable Mundubile is, when are you going to resolve the issues in the party so that we focus our eyes on the candidates? Because as it is right now, we see that the ruling party is getting organized already and they are already campaigning. So on the aspect of the opposition, it seems like we are still behind. And then the last one,
Like I said, just restrict.
Just a consideration, it's not a question, but just a consideration that I want to tell Honorable Mundubile. So, Honorable, when you come into power, I know that one day God will give you this opportunity. So now, please do not forget about youth, because youth are the ones who are still fighting on the ground. More especially when it comes to issues of employment. There are so many things that are happening where you find that they are saying, oh, they are employing. And yet those who are getting employed are those people with money or maybe connections. And people who are being left out, they are just languishing in the compounds, and people are not getting that kind of opportunities. When you get into power, please consider youth more important.
Chanda, I've given you enough time to get your point across. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. It's 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Those lines will get you through to the hot seat this morning. Hello, good morning. You're through to the hot seat.
Good morning.
Morning to you. What's your name?
Solomon.
Sorry, come again?
Solomon Ngoma.
All right, Solomon, please go ahead with your question or contribution.
Good morning, Honorable Mundubile.
Solomon, good morning to you.
Good morning, okay, thank you very much. Just a quick one. What is your view as opposition leaders in terms of the way ECZ is conducting the voter registration? They say there seems to be some polling centers. They look like they are moved away. Yet many people want to register as voters. How are you engaging ECZ as opposition leaders, especially yourself as the presidential aspirant candidate?
All right, thank you very much, Solomon. Thanks for your question. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Those lines will get you through to the hot seat. We have the 2026 presidential aspirant in studio. Honorable Brian Mundubile is joining us on the hot seat. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning to you. What's your name?
This is
Lakson?
Yes.
All right, Lakson, what's your question?
Hey, good morning, Lakson.
My question is, I want to talk about this woman that told down. Hello?
Yes, Lakson, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. So, when you go to power board, consider that there is me and working with Yando, and I'm sure we are going to do something about with us. We are suffering out here. Many of the times that Yando that we consider drivers, they don't even care about us. We are going through a lot. The affairs are low. And the question that I want to ask you is, what measures are you going to put in place for these apps when you become in power. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's squeeze in another call before we allow Honorable Mundubile to give us your response. It's 0974-870-877 and 0950-955-877. Those lines get you through to the hot seat this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Bueno Bwanji, ni wanda nzina yanu?
This is Sanje calling you from Panyama Central, Zambia.
Okay, Musanje, please go ahead. We have Honorable Mundubile in studio.
Amunsanje nilibwino nakaya iwo. Yebo baba.
Mwatuza kuti va president committee vanasesalamuro article 92.
Yes.
Lomba uze ndi mwalo ya asaka pamela anachita appoint makomiti omosi atatu makomishona mwipale ya tatu ijabu ebalose yala kugrini na ina vanasesalamuro bwani sila yamene lwapasa kusanka makomishona ayo. Is it because Nana is not coming from your region or what? Come to the Makamakut when you come back to power.
Musanje. I'll just ask you to retract that because we're not going to allow you to propagate any regional or tribal talk here. Musanje, retract what you've just said because you can't say that and you know what you're saying and we'll not allow you to go that. And it's only one question for you.
I have retracted.
Okay.
He has been talking about the tribalism.
Like I said, I'll allow you to ask your question. You've asked your question, Musanje. So you allow our guests to now respond to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your call. Honorable, please, you can respond to those.
Thank you. My brother Musanje, I want to advise you. I don't know how old you are, but you may be, in my age range. Musanje, you know very well that we have lived before as one Zambia, one nation. And you should never rush to tribe whenever you are criticized or whenever a leader of your choice is criticized. You don't do that, Musanje. You do not do that. President Lungu was criticized every day. He never said you're saying this because I'm Mngoni. So I want to, for all those who are listening, please, let's not have the mindset that Comrade Musanje has. Musanje, I hope you regret what you said. Okay? When I was referring to Article 259, I was not being tribal. I've never been tribal. For your own information, Musanje, I have a number of Tongas in my family, married to my children, and married by my children. I want you to know that. If you dare to know, look for me, I'll take you to my family, call you for a family function. You should find out how many Tongas are in my family, how many laws is in my family. We are one Zambia, one nation, colleagues. Yeah. So people like Musanje, need help. We need to help people like Musanje. Because how? Just criticizing a leader and he rushes to say, is it because he's from another region? You can't do that. For your own information, Musanje, Article 92, it gives the president power to appoint a committee, to help with executive functions. So there's nothing wrong if he appoints a committee that helps with the executive functions. There's everything wrong if he appoints a committee using Article 92 that now begins to do constitutional reform. That's the difference. So you should differentiate between executive functions and constitutional reform. And I hope, Musanje, that you were not influenced by President Hakainde Hichilema when I heard him at State House talking to some civil society organizations, saying, why don't you want to do this? Is it because I'm from a different region? Don't follow that route, Musanje. I know that the president regrets having said what he said. He is not supposed to say that as a leader. As a leader, you can't say, why are you refusing to amend the constitution? Is it because I'm from that region? A leader can't speak like that. And unfortunately, we have Munsanje, who's a follower, who's also speaking like that. I hope the many Zambians that may have followed that path regret that, and you should abandon that route. We want to live as one Zambia, one nation. I'm among those leaders who promote the one Zambia, one nation. We have to unite. We have to unite. So please, I'll saddened by Munsanje's sentiments. Really.
We can respond to other questions.
Yes.
Honorable.
Yes, Lakson, you are right. Youths need help. Youths are in their majority. As a matter of fact, Lakson, you'd like to know, you'll be happy to know that even the Constitution as it is today, before you even amend the Constitution, President Hakainde Hichilema can appoint up to 50 youths as DCs today. He can appoint half of those PSs in ministries today can be youths. Today he can do that. In many other positions. So I look at youths to be the actual power of any country or any economy, because of their ingenuity, because of their energy. And they must at all times and at all levels be involved in leadership. Most of the challenges the youth face today can only be resolved by youths themselves. But those youths must first be empowered with positions. We have highly educated youths. I interact a lot with the youths. When they come with ideas that amaze you, things you've never thought about. Yeah, so I want to assure you, Lakson, that youths, the agenda for youths is top on the agenda. If you come to the studio where I am today, you see that I'm backed by youths, whether the members of parliament and the team that I move with. Honorable Kapianga, Honorable Lucas Simumba, Honorable Fube, and the rest of them. You see that even in parliament, we give them an opportunity to come out and speak on behalf of the youths. So I want to agree with you that going forward in the next government, will ensure, even with the current constitution, that the number of youths, both in parliament and in other positions, is increased, so that they can help to resolve challenges that other youths face on the outside. So youths and women should not be used in this particular case to convince people that it's only when Bill 7 goes through that they can come in and participate. There are enough laws in existence today that would allow the president to appoint many youths and many women in leadership positions other than the being MP. Yes, Solomon Ngoma, the first time we realized that there were problems at these polling stations, as members of parliament, I led a team of MPs to ECZ. That should have been sometime last week, to engage ECZ and highlight some of the challenges that our people faced when they went to register as voters. And some of those challenges I spoke about, like non-functioning equipment. That time we had talked about the deployment plan. We had also talked about the commitment from the staff of ECZ, the laissez-faire attitude that was seen by some of the officers from ECZ was also presented to their superiors, so that they only send those that are serious, to function, to go out in the field, and not send people who are going to frustrate others. Yeah. So when are you going to resolve? This is Chanda. Yes, Chanda. Like I answered earlier, challenges within the party are being resolved. Very soon, the date for the convention will be announced. So, SPF will be going to the convention sooner than later, and a leader will emerge from there to begin to take the party forward. But in the meantime, I'm here at the radio station today because the challenges the Zambian people are facing cannot wait. They cannot wait until we resolve our party problems before they're attended to. For instance, we're just talking about voter registration now. Voter registration will close within the next 30 days. So if I was to wait and say until we go to the convention and come back, then will not have helped the Zambian people at all. As I speak to you, Chanda, the people who grew tobacco in Eastern Province, have not been paid, and the tobacco has not even been picked. The off-takers and whoever was responsible have simply stayed away. People invested their money and time, and there's no one to talk for them. The people that supplied maize to FRA up to now are not paid. So you can imagine that if we abandoned the farmers and just focused on resolving internal issues, then a lot of things are going to go to waste. So we are here to provide leadership so that the farmers that supplied maize are paid. We are here to ensure that the small-scale miners at artisanal level can have their licenses approved at district level. It's unfair that a youth should travel from Chinsali to come and spend nights here pushing for the artisanal license. When Ministry of Mines can decentralize, they can actually create offices at local government level. Remember that there is huge youth unemployment. For the youths who have formed the initiative and are doing something, they need to be helped. It's one thing for the president and Comrade Kabuswe to say we're giving out artisanal licenses. I think they need to do more. There has to be some backward integration, both forward and backward integration. Ensure that it is cost effective for these youths to get these licenses. How do you make sure that that is cost effective? You decentralize and put offices closest to where they are. And at the same time, you quickly look for aggregators, put up centers that to be able to buy and pay for these minerals at a good price. That way, you will have a certain part of the youths, attended to reduce unemployment that is out there. So, Bachanda, the challenges within the party will be resolved soon. Yes, we know that the UPND is out there campaigning. You should not be bothered, Bachanda, because what are they going to tell you about the cost of milling even if they come today? Okay? What are they going to tell you? Are they going to say the milling is not at 400? It's at 50 kwacha? Ushibachanda ngavai sali loba UPND. Bala meva to mutengo fuel nishinga. Are they going to convince you to forget about what you're seeing? Per filling station fuel is actually at 10 kwacha. Are they going to convince you at farmer bali follow about matara? Will they convince you that they're giving 8 bags of fertilizer per farmer instead of a meda? When in actual sense now mwishawa chando kwa vale pela muma meda. Exchange rate ya dollar. Which wala Mr. Convince, are they going to convince you at Yalama report mwana kwa FIC mulabalangati illegal transactions in billions of dollars wala miba tifiabu fide. So even if they come to you, what are they going to say? Shiliemiti ama container 61 ya ku Egypt. Vaile ya sanga ku warehouse. What are they going to tell you about those containers? Ila report ya fumisha US ambassador. Alandi okobati muli ubupupu, muli government, vali bomuti, vali bafinshi. Are they going to dispute that in the campaign? So, ukutangate kufika hiyo, as we're resolving our issues, we know they are coming. Vala savese, but mube bukishokwe bati. Vali la ilewa president akainde ichilema ukuti. He will fight corruption. Ama fisakano, he will fight. Today, there's been 10 MPs reported to SEC. Balaba MP have never been prosecuted. What you have had at SEC, SEC, DG, Batanfienchito, Uyachita resign, board Uyachita dissolve. He is not fighting corruption. So even if Batangila Kokwisa, whilst we are resolving our challenges, Ngawaisa Mkushita campaign, ask them the difficult questions. President Hakainde Hichilema only asked for 5 years. He said he would resolve problems in 5 years. Today he says he can resolve problems if he's given 10 years. Why didn't he say that at the beginning? Why didn't he say that at the beginning? He didn't say he was going to reduce fuel after 10 years. He said, in some cases he was giving timelines. And when I go in at 10 hours or 14 hours, the dollar will drop. What time is it today? How many years has it been? Okay? So, if I want to encourage you, campaign, don't run away from them, listen to them, but ask them these questions. Questions. One, corruption government corrupt. You have actually taken some of the leaders to jail. Nga intungulu shishenu. Indalama tulevele ngamu FIC report. Ma $3.5 billion, $2.8 billion, 60 billion kwacha. These are huge figures. But they expect you, Bachanda, to come and start dancing kuli at Kwenyu, pali CDF. When the actual money, over $10 billion the past 4 years, has been reported in FIC reports. If you go and convert what the FIC report has reported, both in dollar and kwacha, there's $10 billion that has, of questionable transactions that has left the country. But how much is CDF? Ask yourself that question. How much is CDF? CDF is just $200 million. $200 million, number tule shana femo bwachela. But there's $10 billion which has left the country. And nobody has been arrested, nobody has been questioned. The names that have been taken to SEC, the people end up getting fired are the officers at SEC themselves. These are the questions we should be asking the president. Okay? mule sefya CDF wachanda nga bayise bakalala nga kwenyu CDF tulefo eshinda la mashimbisha ya kwisa.
Honorable Mundubile, I would like to thank you very much for coming through to the hot seat this morning.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I look forward to coming through again.
All right, that's our show for this